So I wanted to catch everybody up real quick on what's happening in the presidential primary, the Democratic primary. We have a new Iowa poll that's out here from the Des Moines Register. Take a look. Joe Biden is at 24%. Now, he dropped pretty significantly since the last time they did this poll, so he's doing what we all kind of expected would happen. Bernie Sanders is at 16%. Now, to be fair, Bernie also dropped a little bit. So that is not a good sign, and I do not like that at all. Then we have Elizabeth Warren at 15%. By the way, she charged. This is a huge charge because she was not doing this well even, 1 month ago, but definitely you go back 3 months and she's down there in Irrelevanceville. Pete Buttigieg, 14%. I think that's largely smoke and mirrors, and it will come down as the election rolls on. Kamala Harris at 7%. Then we got a cloud in my boot jar at 2%. A stork to be bet on at 2%. Then you have Michael Bennet, Cory Booker, Julian Castro, John Delaney, Tulsi Gabbard, Jay Inslee, and Andrew Yang at 1%. By the way, I really do believe that Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang, when it comes to the actual voting that will occur, and when it comes to the caucus actually happening, one of them will massively overperform in the polls, if not both of them. Mainstream pundits are a little silly in how dismissive they are of candidates who develop a strong following online. Now, I want to give you the ultra losers, as I call them. This is hilarious. We have Sandra Bullock, Governor Sandra Bullock. She is both an actress and a governor. 0%. Kirsten Gillibrand, 0%. The breakfast cereal John Hickenlooper, 0%. Seth Moulton, 0%. Tim Ryan, 0%. Eric Swalwell, 0%. Marianne Williamson, 0%. Bill de Blasio, 0%. Wayne Messam, 0%. And then we have none of these and not sure, 6%, 6%. Here's why I love that. Here's what's hilarious. There have been more positive stories about Kirsten Gillibrand, breakfast cereal Hickenlooper, Seth Moulton, Eric Swalwell. There have been more positive stories about those candidates than there have been about Andrew Yang or Tulsi Gabbard. In fact, the media pretty clearly bends over backwards to smear them and to act like they're extremists. They even accuse Andrew Yang of being like, a stealth white nationalist or something because he picked up some bigoted followers online. But in every interview, they bring that up with him. And they're like, why do you have white nationalist supporters? And he's like, what? I don't know. I'm like a fucking Asian dude who likes math. I don't fucking know. And I disavow all of their support. He says that every time. And it doesn't matter. They'll keep bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. So there's nothing but smear coverage of Tulsi and Andrew Yang. And they still have more support than some candidates who have had positive coverage. Now, to be fair to these candidates, it's not like they get coverage all the time. Kirsten Gillibrand doesn't get coverage all the time. The breakfast cereal doesn't get coverage all the time. Moulton doesn't get coverage all the time. Swalwell doesn't get coverage all the time. But they certainly get more positive coverage than Tulsi or Andrew Yang. And they're still down there at a very sad and pathetic 0%. But I will say, this race is still wide open, dude. This race is still wide open. And also, watch out for Warren. Now, here's the thing. I think her political instincts are genuinely good. However, she's overcoached. And so what you've seen many times is she'll say the right thing, and then her advisors will say, no, don't say that. And then she'll come out and change it. The example that comes to mind is when we learned about how the Democratic primary in 2016 was effectively rigged. And she was asked that question on a show. She was asked, like, hey, so is it fair to say that this thing was rigged now? And she said in an interview, yes, it was rigged. Then, like, 3 days later, her staffers or whatever made her come back out and say, did I say rigged, bro? Rigged? That's too strong a word, man. I didn't really mean all that. So, this is what happens with her time and time and time again. Her instincts are fine, but she's overcoached, and then she does some stupid fucking tactical move that makes her look stupid and calculated and shrewd, and and it is very transparent, and people don't like it. And so what I think has happened recently is she's just been rolling out policy proposal after policy proposal after policy proposal after policy proposal, and she is kind of focusing on what her expertise is. So most of the stuff that she's been releasing is on Wall Street policy or tax policy. It's usually in regards to economics in one sense or another. And it actually has gotten headlines. It has, created stories. And I think people see that and they go, yeah, okay, cool. I like that. Now, the worst of Warren is what I just described when she's overcoached and overcalculated. But also what she did when she stooped down to Trump's level. And to fight him, you need to fight him on policy because he's in over his head when you talk policy. If you stoop down to the level of let's just do childish insults and throw mud at each other, then he's going to win that 10 out of 10 times. So initially she went down to his level. It seems like she may have learned the lesson of I can't do that. But I can stick to what my wheelhouse is, and her wheelhouse is just release policy after policy after policy, and that's what she's doing, and she's going up in the polls. Also, I don't know what her ground game looks like, but I assume it's a pretty solid ground game. So do I think that the Elizabeth Warren numbers are real? I do. Now, again, to be fair, I don't know. My guess is this poll probably oversampled older voters as well, which is why you see Joe Biden still leading. I think that's probably true. But I also think it's fair to say he still is the front runner. He's got a lead, no matter what you think the lead might be. It might be as small as 4%, let's say, but he does have a lead. But either way, Elizabeth Warren is making a charge. Joe Biden is definitely slipping and going in the wrong direction. And Bernie's kind of plateaued and he's just waffling around the same area. And what we need to do is, get more involved. And the thing is, recently, I've seen a lot of positive things coming out of the campaign. So for the numbers to drop a little bit from Bernie, as they have, it's a little concerning. Because the strategy they've been doing has been a pretty solid strategy recently. And I like what I've seen. From calling out Bill Kristol on foreign policy and telling him to apologize to the American people, to the awesome speeches that he gave with hashtag no middle ground, and putting front and center foreign policy in his Move On speech. I thought that was wonderful. He's been protesting directly with McDonald's workers and Walmart workers. So the strategy is there, but for whatever reason, it's still just he's moving along like that. And we gotta reinvigorate here. We need a shot of adrenaline. We gotta light a fire under everybody's ass and get them more involved and go support Bernie. So let's get him over that line, but here you go. This is the state of the race right now, and it's definitely fascinating.